Welcome my friend, Simon Gray here. Thank you for joining me for this episode. Today I'm going to be going down to my storage unit that I've had for the last month and going to move everything out of storage and back into the step van in preparation for leaving Forest Grove here in a couple of days. This episode is not one of my better episodes, but I'll do my best to try to make it interesting and creative and give you an update on what's going on. Basically, I'm shooting this about 10 days after the actual events that took place that you're seeing during this episode. So I'm sort of filling in the gaps. During that crazy Saturday where I was loading up from the storage unit, I also went to Habitat for Humanity's Restore, where my brother-in-law Merrill found some cabinets for me to be able to use underneath my kitchen countertop. The cabinets are made completely out of plywood with the exception of one side that's made out of medium density fiberboard, not my favorite material, but the price was right. I picked up 3 cabinets for something like $28, $30 range. So pretty good deal, and they're just about the right dimensions to fit in here perfectly. And so I want to show you that. And then there's a few custom things that I've done to the kitchen to make it workable for inside of the step van and my setup. None of which I've done any video for when I was doing the construction. I was so stressed trying to get out of my sister's driveway by Sunday that basically I didn't pick up the camera hardly at all during the last 2 days that I was there. So let me fill you in on what I did do during that period of time. This is the first cabinet that I picked up. This one I think cost something like $8, maybe $2 on clearance. It was a really good deal. It just has a drawer on top and then this larger area on the bottom, and I need to add a shelf in there. I have not done that yet, but I added a little spacer on the top so that it brings it up to 36 inches so that I can get a level countertop on here. I'm reusing and repurposing my old countertop right now until I can come up with a better solution. This is not going to work for me long term because I actually ended up picking up a new sink, which is down there, and the new sink would not quite fit into the countertop that I had, so it's not a good cut, and I have all these breaks in it which causes cracks, and it just doesn't look quite right, and it's going to be difficult to clean, and liquids can get down into the cracks, so it's not really a good long-term solution. But for now, this is what I'm using. I'm going to be raising the power box top, this lid here, up so it becomes part of the countertop. So this will extend the countertop across here. Right now I have books put here temporarily until I build a bookshelf. But anyway, the countertop will go from here all the way down over to there. So that's a 14-foot countertop. It's going to go all the way from here behind the driver's seat where the metal partition is, all the way to the back where I have a small closet and a set of shelves back there. That's a 14-foot countertop. That's absolutely huge, but I have to say I'm obsessed. I love countertops. I love putting stuff out, spreading things out, working on projects, and particularly when I'm cooking, putting everything out on the countertop and getting organized that way. I don't know, it just feels really, really good to me, and I love having the pass-through all the way to the back doors, and my view right now, today, is absolutely spectacular. This is my view out my back door right now. It's absolutely spectacular other than the vehicle here. You can see the Grand Tetons back here, and this is just absolutely gorgeous. I have a temporary power cord running up here from my inverter to run my blender and AC stuff, and then I have my propane stove set up here. Probably I'm going to drop in an actual stovetop in here with a dedicated propane line. But for now, this is what I'm using until I can get that installed. One of the things I'm really proud of is this rolling tray cart that I made for the nomadic fridge. This is pretty cool. It's on wheels, and you can just lean down and it rolls right out. Pretty cool. The cord is just sort of attached here on the side, up with a little set of latch things. So that's pretty cool. And then you can just open it up here, and I have all my food inside. I'll put a link to this fridge in my description below. This is a 95 liter Dometic, runs off a 12 volt. It's pretty darn cool. I'm going to try this for a couple of months, see if it works. I may end up switching this fridge to an upright and changing that, but I just want to see how it fits into the space and how this works for me. Up here I have the stove, which is running off of propane, and next to it a gravity feed for the water going into the sink. This is another cabinet that I purchased. This one actually originally had some drawer fronts on it, which I pulled off. I'm going to replace all of these drawer fronts here with barnwood. So I'll take this same kind of barnwood that I have over here on the wall, and I'll be making fronts for all of these, so it'll give a real nice rustic feel. So I like that. I also have a cutting board here that I can pull out, and I can use this for additional countertop space if I need it. Again, this is part of that problem with the crack that I was talking about that I don't really like, which I think will be fixed once I get a different counter in here that's not having the slight warp of this plywood. I created this piece of wood here that goes around underneath the sink, and this is the wheel well, and this just provides a middle support leg for the sink because there's not very much wood going around the outside edges of the sink. So this is a new sink for me. I actually got this for free at Habitat for Humanity. So this is a cross grade for me. Before I had a sink that had one bowl, and then off to the side it had a drying rack. I like this option better because now I have two bowls and I can set my drying rack inside of here, and that's much better. And this came complete with a hose sprayer and a faucet on it, which I'll eventually be hooking up to a pump. But for now, I just have a gravity feed. I'm using a 5-gallon just for my gray water tank down here. So that seems to be working really well. Over here is the last cabinet that I picked up. I think this one cost something like $10, $12. I don't quite remember. And this also has another cutting board on it, which I can use. Sometimes I'll just sit over here at the bed and just eat my meal off of that cutting board. Another little thing that I created is a little box to hold my Jun and my kombucha. So I have gallon jugs here with the spigots, and just sort of holds it into place. It's really convenient, really nice. Do like that. I made a little whiteboard here, so I have a list of tasks that I'm working on. You can see the mechanical things I'm trying to do with the step van and the electrical things I'm working on right now. Fire extinguisher off in the corner. Wi-Fi hotspot wired up right here, and then goes up to an external antenna on my booster. So that's a WeBoost system with a ZTE Sprint hotspot. Right now I'm getting, I don't know, 20 gigs coming down. That's pretty decent. And then the knife rack going across here on a magnetic thing. I found that if you put the knives pointing down so that the ridge here on the handle is slightly above the magnetic strip, then they never fall off. They've been super durable. The worst bumps, the worst tipping, quick stops, everything. It's just rock solid, really good. Back here you'll see denim insulation, and that's where the backsplash is going to be with the license plates. Still need to do that. Overall, I am ecstatic about the kitchen, the step van, how it's looking, and it's really great. One of the problems with the Build 2.0 is getting the spare tire in the step van. Originally I had it in my garage space underneath the bed, but in the new layout that's not really possible, and I didn't really plan for that. So did some research online, got some advice from friends, and the solution was to use a small little winch, a tire winch, and put it underneath. So measured some space, and I got the help and advice of my brother-in-law Merrill over here, which you've seen in a few videos. And he is a mechanical engineer, an amazing individual, and loves working with metal and fabricating. So Merrill, what have you done here?
We ended up going with a bottom mount of the tire that's going to go in underneath the van between the frame rails. And when we went to mount the winch, we needed something to put it onto the bottom. So this is going to attach to some of the aluminum frame rails with bolts. Then we're going to weld this part up onto the steel frame underneath that will suspend the winch under. We also needed to make a small modification to the winch to add a little bit of material on the sides here to fit the larger tire that you have with this big huge step van. And so a little bit of welding, a little bit of cutting, and a lot of fun, and here we are.
This is the final step, is preparing. We're just doing a little bit of painting on it. We have a custom like lever thing that we created so that I can use a cordless drill to be able to put in through a hole in the back to be able to wind it up and down. So that's also Merrill's design, so that's pretty cool. All right, Merrill, looks like we're finally done.
Yeah, the spare tires, the mount's in there, and away we go. There we go. And man, that's not moving at all. I love it.
That's great. Now tell me about this pipe thing here.
Oh, so on the end of the winch, we have a shaft that has a little pin that goes across it that is used to turn the shaft for the winch. So we got a stretch of pipe here. I think this is 1-inch pipe that we got, 7. And so we filed a gap down here for the pins to go into in the shaft. So the shaft goes in here, the pins go in there, and when we rotate this, it rotates the shaft of the winch. I also ground in some flats onto it, so if we ever run out of power, you can always put a wrench onto it and turn it 5,000 times and get the spare tire up and down in a pinch. Also welded on, actually took a piece of rebar and ground it down and pounded it in here and then welded on to the end of the pipe so it'll fit into the drill. So good times, lots of fun.
And that's one of the advantages of having a mechanical engineer as a brother-in-law. Isn't this fabulous? There's just no way I could do this on my own. I sort of understood how it was done, but I don't have the skill set to do something like that. Thank you so much, Merrill.
It's all fun.
While Merrill's fabricating the tire mount, I am working with my sister in the step van. I pulled everything out of storage, and so today we are organizing the inside of the step van, and it is an ordeal. We've been at it for hours and hours trying to get things organized. And it's not for lack of space. It's sort of like I have a bunch of stuff that I've accumulated, and we're just trying to figure out where it goes in the new layout. Mostly I'm excited at the progress that I've had. In 30 days I built all of this, and it took me 10 months to come to the same point in my Build 1.0 progression. And in 30 days I was able to match that or even surpass it to have even a better build. And I did 95% of that on my own with almost no help from anyone else. Merrill pretty much spearheaded and did everything for the tire mount. That was 100% him. I think I did some spray painting and drilled a couple of holes and helped him hold some stuff and move some stuff. But he really took that on himself. That kudos to Merrill. He's an absolutely fantastic mechanical engineer and great assistance with me and my build. Merrill also provided a lot of advice for things as I was building out and running into roadblocks. But pretty much the interior here I built all on my own. I did all the shelves and all the cabinets, everything on my own, building the bed. That was really all done by me, whereas with Build 1.0, I did maybe 20% of it, something like that. 80% was other people that I was watching. I was handing them tools, I was nodding my head. I got in there and would put in screws when they would let me, but most of it was them building things and me learning from them, which has paid off. So thank you to all of you who helped with the 1.0 build and teaching me these skills so that I was able to do what I did in this build. I'm so ecstatic with how this came out. I am probably 80% of the way through. I still have things to do, like putting the Murphy bed on the wall behind me, building the dinette, which is going to go right next to the bed. You can see all that in the original layout that I did for the Build 2.0. I still need to go to a scrapyard and find some sort of a captain's chair. I'm trying to find one of those from the Toyota that has the seat belts that are built into it, and then get that to where it can rotate around. A couple other little shelving units and a lot of final touches and tweaks and things that I want to do. I still have to tuck all the electric wires behind the wall paneling and put in the ceiling paneling. But I'm on the road again. I can do this at my own pace. I can slow down. I don't need to have any big pressure right now to move forward. And so I'm just going to relax. That's all I have for this episode. Thank you for watching and being patient with me with not getting video of the build out of some of these items that I put in here with the kitchen cabinets, the counter. Thank you again to all you that have helped me get to this point and with the progress that I've made. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. And special thanks to Meryl and my sister for their help in this build. That's all I have for this episode. Savor the moment. See you next episode.